NOTAM runway 22, non-standard markings.
Okay.
3037 on the altimeter, the Bravo Alpha runway 22. How do you read me?
Well, clear.
Well, as you can see,
Very good, thank you.
well, you can't see that there's only 2 people on the airport this morning, and it just happens to be. Oh, there he goes. Okay, we're not going to have to wait long for him. It's a nice bitter cold morning, 45 degrees outside. Let's see, what did I put in? I put in 9.5 gallons of fuel. More like 9 point, right about there. There we go. Go to NAG screens. Okay, so here we are flying again, just a couple days after the last time. A couple of things of note. I think I mentioned the last time I flew that I was hearing some kind of expensive sounding and foreign noise coming out of the engine. And that's something that needs to be looked at, of course. And I did talk to my mechanic. There's no mechanic here at Bolton Field anymore. And even when there was, they didn't know or have the certifications required to work on a Rotax engine. So I have to go up to Delaware County, which is up north of Columbus. It's not a terrifically long flight. I think it's 18 miles and such. Won't take long at all. But I did talk to him about the sound. I recorded it. I can't find my... I'm having trouble finding my shoulder belts. There we go. I did get a little recording of it on my iPhone, and I was able to send that to him. And he had a couple of suggestions as to what could be the cause. Both make sense. One was an induction leak, and that would come from most likely the crossover tube. Oh, for crying out loud. It's like these things are velcroing to my back where I can't see them. There we go. Grab one, the other disappears. Okay. There's a crossover tube because there's 2 carburetors on the Rotax 912. They have to be balanced, and to balance them, you remove the crossover tube and put a kind of a pressure sensor on each of the carburetors, and you just basically balance till they're generating the same vacuum or whatever it is per carburetor at idle. So that's been done. In any event, yes, I did have the tubes off to do that, but I really don't think that's the cause. I don't think that's, I went and looked at the hoses and everything looks just fine, you know. The other possibility is inside the gearbox. This is a geared engine. You'll see me flying at 5,000 RPM. The propeller certainly isn't doing that. It's approximately a 2-to-1 reduction. And inside of that gearbox is a clutch. And the clutch is only there, as far as I'm aware, it's only there in case of a prop strike. Whereas on a Lycoming or a Continental, propeller is attached directly to the crankshaft, and in the back of the engine, the crankshaft is held by one big master nut. And if you strike the propeller, I mean, even a sandbank or a puddle of water, anything, it can transmit a shock back through that crankshaft and loosen up that nut. And if that nut comes off, the whole engine just internally eats itself alive. That's not a good thing. On the Rotax, there's a clutch in that gearbox to absorb any kind of prop impact. Now, you're probably going to destroy the propeller, but you're not going to destroy the engine, so there is a benefit to that. And if that clutch is slipping a little bit, that could make that squeaking sound. Although I'm still not sure why it would. But there's not much else up there, in there, to cause that kind of squeaking. So I came out yesterday. I found out it's happens base speed and RPM range from about 3,700 to 4,100, and then goes away. It only does it when the engine is warm, so it's not going to do it right now while I'm sitting there trying to warm up the oil. I did come out about an hour ago, plug in the preheater to try to get the oil warmed up. It didn't do much of a job. Well, we're at 93, so it must have done something. So, because it's 45 degrees outside, so it must have done something. You'll also note, and this was a comment in my last video, that you're sitting a couple inches lower down into the airplane. What happened there is the camera is being supported by a conglomeration of different GoPro mounts and big hefty pistol grip that I had for my full-size camera, and one of those little plastic mounts broke, which is amazing for what they cost. It's just incredible what they charge for those things. They cost about a nickel to make, if that, and they're $39 and such forth. That's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, the only replacement I had is about 1.5 inches lower. So for now, you're just going to have to sit and kind of peer over the edge. It's best I can do for you. So we're 101 degrees, so another 20 to go. We can start rolling up here a little bit, at least get out in the sun. And I still need to program in where we're headed. We're going to map direct. I got to pull this out, put it back in. That's just a little memory stick that holds some approach plates and such, and it seems to confuses the sky view that it's in there sometimes, which is kind of odd. So K, and we're going to, no, that's not what we want, airport. Get back, get back. We're going to get up there. K, we already had the K. Delta, where are we going? There we go. ADLZ is where we're headed, so it's 22.3 miles, and won't take us long to get there at all. And it nicely dodges the Columbus Class C, and it also dodges that TFR that's still sitting over Ohio Stadium for some reason.
4328 Juliet Bolton Tower, runway 22, cleared for takeoff, proceed on course.
Yeah, he got out there right quick, didn't he? We're going to bump up our altimeter here to about 920 or so, about there. So my guess is we're going to hit the altimeter of 3034, nice high pressure. You can see that in the beautiful sky and everything. It's just a little bit cold is all. I need a little bit down trim on there. But that trim is just so fast now, I'm going to have to find a way to adjust that. It seems to kind of hunt around a little bit. That's the indicator hunting around. The trim tap's not back there doing that. Just little things like that. So still 110 on the oil, another 10 to go, so that's not going to be a problem at all. We can go ahead and taxi, so I'll go ahead and give this guy a call. Oh, there's the sun, much nicer. Let me make sure I'm ready to go here. Okay, I'm finally belted up. I've got the canopy latched. All the things in, everything's fine. 12 gallons of gas, okay, that's plenty. Let me look at the visual on that. That looks about right. Care to the mechanical gauge? Okay, here we go, so. Bolton ground, experimental 284, Delta Golf at the T hangars, ready to taxi departing VFR northbound.
Experimental 284 Delta Golf, Bolton ground, runway 22, taxi via Bravo to Alpha, wind 1804, altimeter 3037.
And taxi Bravo Alpha to runway 22 for Delta Golf. And 3037 on the altimeter. Wow, 950. We never agree on these things. We get close sometimes, but... All right, well, you're looking right into the sun, which can't possibly be any fun, so I'm going to shut you off here for a sec. So, you know, it's not surprising to me to come out here and have nobody else out here but one other plane and have him plopped right in front of me, because this is one of those story of my life stories. I cannot go, no matter when I go into a Lowe's or a Walmart or any big box store, there may be 4 entire customers in the entire store, and I'll get to the item that I'm standing there or looking to buy, and one of those 4 other people will be standing right in front of what I'm trying to get, just staring at it like a shrimp pondering the existence of a nuclear submarine. It's like they're just befuddled by whatever they're looking at. They just stand there, and it just seems to happen quite often. The other is you're driving along, and I need to turn around, so I pull into somebody's driveway, and sure enough, that car behind me, that's their house, and I'm in their driveway. So here we are. I'm going to turn into the sun again, do a run up, and turn you on again for the takeoff, just because they're fun to watch. Okay, well, you're going to have to squeeze into the sun. Another story of my life story did not happen. Usually I have some kind of symptom of something mechanical, or, you know, my arm hurts or whatever, and it just aches and aches and aches, and I finally go to the doctor and it feels just fine. And I was afraid I was going to do my run up and the engine would not squeak, but it did. So it's not a loud squeak, it's just something, it's just abnormal, and you don't want that in an airplane engine. So we're going to be taking off here in just a bit. I'm going to do my last minute stuff. I've got the canopy latched, I've got my fuse where it belongs, and I've got my trim to take off. I got everything turned on. We have a direction. We have a course laid in. We are ready to go. My departure heading, yeah, it is north. Okay. And Bolton Tower, experimental 284 Delta Golf, ready for takeoff runway 22 at Alpha 1, departing VFR northbound.
Experimental 284 Delta Golf, Bolton Tower, runway 22, cleared for takeoff, proceed on course.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 22, proceed on course for Delta Golf. Now, I could talk fast with this guy. This guy's a veteran. He's been here for as long as I've been here. I can get away with talking fast, but I didn't. I'm still working on that. I thought that was fairly reasonably paced. Okay, here we go. Way too much runway for this airplane. and squelch just right so it's not doing that chattering. Gorgeous day. I think I can see the Ohio River from here. Oh, there's some fog. I got some ground fog off to the east there. Not so much on the west. And Delaware was reporting no issues with ground fog or anything like that, but we'll see. Wow. This is some climbing weather. I mean, I'm pattern altitude, never even made it to my neighborhood. I mean, high pressure, cold air. Airplane just loves that kind of thing. And we're climbing at 1,000 foot per minute at 86 knots. Pretty spectacular. Gorgeous morning. All right, I'll go ahead and reset our direct to. And might as well let the autopilot do the nav portion of the flight. So we're not going to go very high. I do have to get over 30. I got to get up 3,500 to get over Don Scott, or either that or go around it, which I could do, but we'll let the autopilot fly. We don't need quite that much vertical speed on the autopilot. And if I want to verify that Class D altitude, which I believe tops out at 3,400, I'm just going to take this little knob, slide it right up here to let it sit over that airspace, and it's going to tell me 3,400. So I'll be 3,500 MSL, I'll be right over the top of that. And like I said, I could just as easily go around it. It's like a mile. But why? Why would I? See if I can get you, I'm not sure if this is going to work. I'm reluctant to touch this thing, but there's the, try to get you the view out the window here. There we go. You can see off to the east a little bit. How about that? There we go. All right, well, it's going to be about a 10-minute flight, so I'll wake you up here in a bit.
0, clear, below, 1,2,000, temperature, 8 Celsius, dew point, 5, altimeter, 3036.
036 on the altimeter. We're already listening to the weather. We're almost there already.
Delaware Municipal Airport, automated weather observation, 1316 Zulu, weather, wind, calm, visibility, 10.
Beautiful.
Below, 1,2,000,
right.
temperature, 8.
So our choice on the runway, so it's going to be,
altimeter, 303.
here, let's take a look. I mean, I think it's a 0927, so we want to go to info. And we're going to tab over here to runway. And it's 1028. We're headed north, so we'll make a left pattern to 28, so we're going to choose runway 28. Piece of cake.
Calm, visibility, 1.
And now we'll just start listening to see if there's anybody in the pattern. Ohio State flies their in and out of there with their training flights and such forth. So we want to keep an ear out for that. But other than that, we're just cruising along. We got another, what do we got? Less than 10 minutes to go.
Traffic.
We do have traffic. He's close. He's 600 feet above us and 2.5 miles. There he is. Right there. Some kind of big, almost looks like a King Air. Although it might be a single engine, which would make it something like a, no, it's a King Air. Twin engine turboprop King Air. Zooming right on by. Okay. All right. Well, we'll be there in just a couple minutes. It's a very trafficy morning. That King Air, he's now curdled back around behind us, so he may have seen us and just, or either got vectored. He may be talking to Port Columbus and got vectored around us, but he's headed directly behind us now. And then here's a plane 1,500 feet above us, so he's at 6,000, so that's probably an IFR. Well, now he's 2,000 feet above us. That would make him 5,500 and climbing. And I'm not sure where he's coming from. Might be Port Columbus. Don Scott's right there. Could be that. So a lot of airplanes fly around. Delaware's now showing up on the map. So it's kind of a shame it's such a short trip. It's a beautiful morning to fly. It's lasts smooth. See forever. I don't have the heat turned on and I'm comfortable, so just being inside here is enough to keep me warm. Got a nice jacket on and everything. It's not too cold. I don't like to turn the heater on if I don't have to. I've struggled with that heater cable. Get it turned on and can't turn it back off again. That can be really frustrating. I think I have it working now. I completely redid it, rerouted it, and tightened it up and everything. I think it's working, but since I don't need it, I'm just not going to fool with it. Flying off to my left is the Deerfield Golf Course where they have the Memorial Tournament every, I don't know, late May, early June. And it's just amazing the way golf courses and lakes draw houses. They just cluster around. Personally, never really seen the appeal of living next to a golf course and having golf balls, you know, mowing and hit a golf ball or get a golf ball through one of my windows. I guess Muirfield, a very exclusive club. Well, I don't know if it's very exclusive, it's very expensive, which is some level of exclusion. They're probably good enough that they're not popping balls into the people's windows and such. But I really wouldn't be parked have my house parked right next to a municipal where people like me go out and flail around. Back when I used to try that kind of thing, I've pretty much given up. All right, 8.2 miles. We're clear of the Class D from Ohio State. I can start descending a little bit. I've got 2,000 dialed into the altitude I want to go down to because that's the pattern altitude at Delaware. I've already got the airport in sight. It's 7.5 miles away. It's clear as a bell today, so really, really easy to see. So we're going to start our descent.
Autopilot, disconnect.
Well, with regards to altitude anyway. Actually, I can turn it off entirely. I can fly it from here.
Disconnect.
I'm not that lazy.
And Greene County traffic, 8345 uniform base, final 25 full stop.
And it looks like we might have some competition for the runway. 2,000 feet below, so he's turning though. And he's below, that would put him at about 1,400. Oh, there he's turning back. He may be way the hell out here. Base leg. I can't tell what he's doing. We're just going to watch him. Go ahead and make my first call. Delaware County traffic, experimental 284 Delta Golf is 6 miles south, inbound left traffic runway 28, Delaware County. Now we just got to find this guy, and he's 4.5 miles away, headed east, 1,500 feet below us. I think I'll just stay above him. I can kind of coast. I don't need to get down to pattern altitude until I get to the pattern. It's really easy to find the airport here. There's a big, huge quarry right off the end of it that's hard to miss. So you just find that quarry and look a little bit to the right and you can see the runway. Well, you can't see the runway. It's kind of pale. But you can see where the airport would be and you can see the hangars. Very easy to find. The guy is moving very slowly, too. That could be a helicopter or something. Looks like we're going to cross in front of him by 2.5 miles. I'm surprised I can't see him. 1,000 feet below and 2.5 miles. Ought to be able to see him. Don't want to fixate on it, but I'd sure like to know where he is. Oh well, he's not really a factor to us, so pay attention to what we're doing. 800 to go for pattern altitude. He's going to pass behind us now. Oh well. Hi. Oh well. I'm kind of easing off to the west a little bit so I can make a 45-degree entry to the left downwind and hit it at midfield. So I'm pointed right at that quarry now.
Attitude.
Tude. She says I have attitude. Tude. Maybe she's trying to say dude. Alright, just about to pattern altitude. Still not seeing anything, not hearing anything. Looks like we may own the airport right now. Looks like the hangar door is open, so the mechanic said he'd be here about 9 o'clock in the morning, traffic permitting. It's 9:25, so pretty safe bet that they're here. And I can see the hangar door open, so that's good. I don't want to stand around just because it's cold. Well, it's up to 52 degrees. It usually gets colder when you go north, right? Anyway. Okay, there's pattern altitude, and there's the pattern. That worked out very, very well. Now we just need to slow down. We're still doing 103 knots. And nothing, I still see nothing. We're going to go ahead and make our pattern entry.
traffic, experimental 284 Delta Golf is midfield left downwind 28, full stop, Delaware County.
Starting to hear the squeak. I do hear that squeak a little bit. Trim it up a little bit. Far back. Still a little fast. I've been actually flying my approaches a wee bit fast. That's why it's floating down the runway on me. Really want to be at about 55 knots over the numbers, and I think I've been doing closer to 60, 65, so we're going to slow it a little bit more than I have been doing. And there, we can start our base leg now. Any second.
Delaware County traffic, experimental 284 Delta Golf is left base 28, full stop, Delaware County.
Get those flaps down, clunk and clunk. And there's 68 knots, 67 knots. Let's trim up a little bit. Really want to get it slowed down. Now, it's going to be hard to do because there's not a lot of wind. And the airplane really wants to fly today. It just got so much that nice thick cold air, and the engine's breathing that nice cool air and making all kinds of horsepower that I don't want. That should work out okay. All right, there's 66. Gotta get her slowed down. 64, 63, right about there is good. That's gonna drop us in real nice. That quarry is one of the reasons I don't like driving up here. Lots of dump trucks in and out of there. And of course, they're full of gravel and such that are kind of slow. Hard to get around them. It's a 2-lane road. Alright, we don't need to land on the numbers today, in case anybody's wondering. We've got a nice long runway that we don't need, so we're going to fly on down to the middle part here. Alright, now there's 56. Let's see how much that floats. Still floating up. That was pretty good. I didn't even feel that. All of a sudden the wheels just started rolling. Alright, so here we are. My wallet cringed. Been here before, knows how much it hurts. Looks like a couple airplanes there already. I must have wanted to get here a little bit sooner. Well, we'll see. He's just going to want to listen to it at first anyway. Right in front of you is our destination, Shamrock Air, Aircraft Maintenance. One of the only road tax guys around. Pretty good guy. I like working with him. I've not really had many bad experiences at all with maintenance people. And this guy, I really like him. He's very knowledgeable and easy to talk to. All right, well, here we are, fabulous Delaware County Municipal Airport, Ohio. I'll let you know how this all turns out. Well, here we are a couple hours later, and we'll find out here in a minute whether or not the squeak is fixed. But the good news is it's been diagnosed, and it was one of the options I had considered. The one I thought might be a coincidence. What we ended up doing, I had him go ahead and do a check I needed done anyway to finish out my annual, and I've never trusted my own results on it. It's where you put in a big bolt that locks the engine crank, and you put a gauge, like a fish scale, to test the back pressure on the prop before the clutch slips, and it tested fine. And I like to have them do that because it's one of those ones I don't trust my own results on, because I don't have a very good scale. Etc. So we finally ended up, I got that done, and then we went in and took off the spinner, and I had been suspicious of the spinner, and sure enough, without the spinner on there, there was no sound at all. So they put some kind of dry lubricant on the pitot, which will hopefully for a while keep it from making an awful squeak, but the way to fix this is probably going to be just to let it wear itself out. It did once before, it got to where it didn't screech anymore. But the big news is that it's not something that's going to cause the engine to stop running or developing thrust or anything like that while I'm flying. It's also, I'm going to pay him an hour labor, which I think is justified. We spent probably an hour and a half on it. You know, I took the cowls off and everything. They just did it like a listening and such forth, but it cost them an hour of their time, which is valuable to them. So I'll pay them for that hour and a half, whatever he bills me. I think it's money well spent. So we're just waiting for the engine to warm up, and we can start taxiing out. We got to go all the way out to 28. You remember how far that was from the landing. So we're going to taxi on out. It's gotten a little windier. We'll pick up the AWAS here.
Visibility 10, clear below 12,000, temperature 15 Celsius, dew point 3, altimeter 3035.
Copy.
Delaware Municipal Airport. Automated weather observation 152 Zulu weather, wind 250 at 8, gusts 15, visibility.
Okay, that's fine. So this took a little longer than it would have. You saw the airplanes at the hangar when I pulled in. What had happened was there was a guy scheduled one of the rentals for a check ride today, and the airplane wouldn't start. So they wanted to swap a good battery into it. Something had happened to the battery, and they were swapping a good battery into it. And the other plane they were doing a compression check on. It's a brand new overhauled engine. It's a very fresh engine, and it was failing miserably on cylinder, let's see, cylinder 3. You know, you're looking for something on a brand new engine, or at least overhauled engine. You want like 78 out of 80 of the pressure, and it was down like 60 or 62, and that's just not good. So it either got assembled incorrectly or something has happened to it, and they're going to have to tear a cylinder off, and they weren't really thrilled about that either. But I stood and watched all that. I told them I was in no hurry. I didn't have an appointment or anything. It was just kind of a walk-in. So once we got around to working on my plane, it was just the same kind of troubleshooting I probably could have done at home. But I did want to get them to do that clutch check, and I paid close attention to how they did it to make sure I can do it myself next time. It's not super difficult. But there's things that, you know, you're trying to read instructions and make sure you're getting it 100% correct, and maybe you're not fully understanding. I pretty much was, so it is something I can do myself next time, having seen it done. And then I put the cowls back on. I did all that. So what do we got? 108 degrees. We'll be at 120. We'll do a nice run up down here and see if it squeaks or not. But either way, it's not something that's really a safety of flight issue, which is a huge relief. And I think their bill rate is $80 an hour, so $80 to $100. It's money I'd rather not spend, but I think it's if you're going to spend it, that's kind of like buying cheap insurance. I really needed to know if there was something really internally wrong with the engine. So we'll come down here, we'll wait for the oil, do a run up, and then we'll be in the air. Okay, well, the oil's up to 132, and the time difference was me trying to take that big, heavy, bulky coat off. Because now it's 61 degrees outside, and I'm sitting in a greenhouse, so it's much warmer than that in here. And trying to get that jacket off while you're sitting in the airplane's not easy. Not easy at all. All right, so I did do a quick little run-up and didn't hear a thing. So the whatever lubricant they put on there is doing just fine. Yep, not a sound. Not a sound. Well, I mean, it's the sound of the engine, but no untoward sounds that sound expensive and turn out not to be. So we're about ready to go. Let's go over to, we're on the Unicom already. Headset. Managed to get the headset cord trapped underneath my shoulder belts, and now there we go. Okay, if we're ready, we are going to depart.
Delaware County traffic, experimental 284 Delta Golf. Departing runway 28, the beach departure to the south, Delaware County.
Delaware Ridge, full traffic, Cessna 26 Golf, 8 miles off the field, inbound for the landing runway 28 Delaware traffic.
All right, well, he's 8 miles out, so that's on the good to know list. Not going to have to worry too much about it. Boy, there's some wind here. That nose was up almost right away. We got a little more wind than we had. There we go. I mean, that nose was up in 100 feet. All right, we have a healthy airplane again, and that makes us very, very happy. We shall fly tomorrow. Uh, 1,500 foot per minute at 84 knots. 1,600 foot per minute at 80 knots. We're climbing well. Now let's see, we got traffic all around us. We can shoot the gap here. There's a gap between the two of them if I head due south right now. And I'm going to stay on the Unicom for a little while since there seems to be a lot of traffic around here. And that probably won't be the case down at Bolton, so I'll start listening to that when we get a little closer.
Runway 24 with you.
And let's reset our direct. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Hold on. That's definitely not what I wanted. Direct, recent, Bolton. There we go. Now we have a crosswind component of 16 knots from a 22 degree wind from 252, which is off to our right. So we're crabbing significantly to the right to stay on our direct line to Bolton. And again, we need 3,500 to get over. We could go around, but we're going to go up to 3,500 because it's a nice day. We'll go 3,500 over Don Scott. So just be a few minutes. I dialed in Bolton Tower and right away heard helicopter Charlie Pop doing some air work, which is a helicopter. It's a Columbus Police helicopter.
Bolton Tower, November 128 Alpha Victor, 15 miles to the west, inbound for pattern work.
Oh, good. We'll have two of them in the pattern.
November 128 Alpha Victor, Bolton Tower, roger. Report the right base, runway 22, wind 240, altimeter 3036.
And back up on the altimeter, okay.
We'll report right base 3036. 8 Alpha Victor.
And generally, coming from the north like this.
I like to reposition to Alpha taxiway for hover work and then right pattern work.
I see. The helicopter's doing hover work, which means...
Helicopter 7 Charlie Papa, reposition approved to taxiway Alpha on departure, make right close traffic.
Okay, so we're gonna have two touch and goes plus hover work. And then me coming in from the north, which they'll generally try to clear me into about a 2-mile right base for 22. Sometimes they'll have me scooch over and fly direct. I strongly suspect this is going to be the right base to 22, but it's got the helicopter over there doing touch and goes. So usually on closed traffic, they'll have them fly the other way around. They try to keep them on the east side of the field for some reason, but whatever. We'll deal with it when we get there. I mean, 2 airplanes in the pattern is not exactly crowded. Speaking of not exactly crowded, we're over the Columbus Zoo right now, and I count maybe 50 cars total in the parking lot, and about 30 of those will be employees and docents. Oh, we're up 48 degrees. It's kind of a shame. It's a nice day to go to the zoo, but it is a weekday. It's a Monday. Or Tuesday. It's a Tuesday. Now we're just off the departure into Don Scott, and there's an airplane. Traffic can go right underneath us. Looks like a Cessna 152 or 172. 600 feet below us and climbing, but he's just directly under us now, so not a factor, but being alerted to it as is appropriate. And we got 11 miles to go, 11 and a half to go. Another airplane 1,000 below us. Looks like he's going to cross in front of us in a couple miles. There he is. Oh, he's going the other way. He just turned around.
Tower, helicopter 7 Charlie Papa, Alpha taxiway for close right pattern.
Helicopter 7 Charlie Papa, make right close traffic, report midfield.
I'm going to give them a call. I'm going to call them about 8 miles, give them plenty of time to figure out what to do with me.
Roger, like a right base for 22.
Okay, that's a Comanche 10 miles out.
128 Alpha Victor, Bolton test air position.
And this is the other guy that was 15 miles out.
Bolton Tower, 8 Alpha Victor, 5 miles to the west.
And we are 9 miles to the
November
north.
8 Alpha Victor, roger. You'll be number 1 inside traffic, just checked in 10 miles to the west following you.
Yeah, the 10 miles to the west is going to be our conflict.
8 Alpha Victor.
see what he does with it.
Charlie Papa's on there right now in Alpha Taxiway.
And then you got the helicopter there. That's the helicopter.
The option.
Wait for a gap.
Bolton Tower experimental 284 Delta Golf is 8 miles north, inbound landing.
Experimental 284 Delta Golf Bolton Tower, roger. Report 3 miles from the field for sequencing, wind 25010, altimeter 3036. Traffic approximately 3 miles from the field is, I believe, a Comanche, and the second one is should be about 8 miles from the field now, both inbound from the west.
And copy, we'll be looking and I'll report 3 miles from the field for Delta Golf.
And we're going to go ahead.
5188.
We're going to slow down.
3 miles from the field for sequencing.
We're going to slow down.
That's 1-8 pop.
We'll slow down and get that Comanche in front of us just to make it easier for all involved, chiefly me. We can lose some altitude though. We don't need to be all the way up here 3,500. We'll go down to 3,000. So 79 knots, 80 knots, that guy should easily get in front of us. I think that's him right there. Unless he's the helicopter. Doesn't really matter. We're just going to park ourselves out here and get that Comanche in. Okay, there's that other traffic.
We're about 3 miles for right base for 22.
November 18 Papa, roger, stand by. November 8 Alpha Victor, say your position.
We're midfield downwind approaching right base.
Oh yeah, we're out of all of this.
November 8 Alpha Victor, roger, not in sight, runway 22, cleared for the option on departure, make a left close traffic, report midfield.
Getting them on the other side now.
8 Alpha Victor.
November 18 Papa, traffic you are following is midfield right downwind to runway 22, not in sight, number 2, runway 22, cleared to land.
Roger, we had him a minute ago.
That's pertinent.
November 18 Papa, he should be on the right base now.
Roger, 18 Papa. 18 Alpha Victor is right base, 22, touch go.
November 8 Alpha Victor, roger, in sight.
Alright, we can go ahead and speed back up again. I think. Wait for this to settle out. I don't know where the helicopter is. He'll ask my position here any minute now. Well, I'm going to give him my position in 1.5 miles. We're 4.5 right now.
Autopilot, disconnect.
Still not hearing any bad sounds from the spinner. That lubricant's going to hold it for a while, I think.
Hey Papa, we cleared to land.
Yeah.
18 Papa, runway 22, clear to land.
18 Papa, thanks.
I believe you were cleared to land number 2.
Bolton Tower 4, Delta Golf 3 miles from the field.
Moving altitude.
November 4 Delta Golf, roger. Traffic you are following is about a 1 mile right base, runway 22, not in sight, runway 22, clear to land.
Clear to land 224 Delta Golf.
Alright. I can't see him either. He's in really tight, which is nice. I'll see him here in a second, I'm sure. That's a nice clear day. But he'll be long gone. If he's a mile into the base, we're 3 miles out, so 2 mile gap, we're not going to have any trouble with him. Now we can go ahead and turn our base. This is where I normally would, right over the warehouses. Looks like he's right in front of me. According to the scope. Oh, I saw something moving, then I glanced away. Darn it. I'd like to be able to see. Oh, there he is. He's just about to the runway now. He's just crossing Norton Road. I'm sorry, Elkhart Road.
November 4 Delta Golf in sight.
And I've got your traffic in sight too, so I'm not too...
Helicopter 7 Charlie Papa, remain
Laps.
north of taxiway Charlie.
7 Charlie Papa will do.
And we're going to keep our speed up this time a little bit. We're landing
November 18 Papa, turn right taxiway Alpha 3, then taxis via Alpha to Charlie. The helicopter will be remaining north of taxiway Charlie.
He landed right on the numbers, and now he's taxiing half a mile down Alpha 3. We're going to land a little long and taxi about 30
Turn right
feet.
taxiway Alpha 3, then
Alpha
taxi
3.
via Alpha to Charlie.
Alpha to Charlie, 18 Papa.
You gotta get off the runway, buddy. Here I come. Come on. Get up there and turn. He'll do fine. All right, we're all set here. He's turning off onto the taxiway. We're going to land a little long. Oh, I see the helicopter. He's right there on the taxiway. Right at the departure, departure end. Just hovering there. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It looked like a little hat to you, but not going to be a factor. The other guy's off the runway and not sure where he's going. He's turned around. There he is. Okay. We're going to scooch you on down here.
Victor, downwind, runway 22.
November 8 Alpha Victor, runway 22 cleared for the option, and it appears there's a flock of birds approximately 2 miles northeast of the field. They're circling and diving. You can probably see them. They're sticking out.
There we go. Right wheel down first, just like you're supposed to do on a crossword.
4 Delta Golf, turn right taxiway Alpha 3, taxi via Alpha to Charlie, monitor ground point 8.
Right Alpha 3, taxi Alpha to Charlie, mount ground point 8 for Delta Golf.
We got down a little too early, but we got that right wheel down into a right crosswind, so hey, technique. Good technique.
November 8 Alpha Victor, that flock of birds that's circling, they appear to be, I'd say, between 800 to 1,000 feet.
Okay. And that helicopter is staying.
Roger, still searching.
Did he tell me Alpha to Charlie? I think he told me Alpha to Charlie because he's got the helicopter taxiing north of Charlie. So I'm sure he told me Alpha to Charlie. I got short-term memory, needs some help. For writing things down. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't want me taxiing up there into the helicopter, that's for sure. I've always wanted to fly a helicopter. Too expensive, but sure looks like fun. I've flown simulators, but that's nowhere near the same thing.
Great, Alpha Victor, Roger, 22 cleared for the option.
Hope they're not here for ribs. That place doesn't open on Mondays. Be really disappointed. Okay, well, healthy airplane, safely back. Thanks for riding along.